Have you ever felt like the world is testing your patience, pushing every button, daring you to explode? What if you could face chaos with the calm of a warrior monk? Unshaken, unmoved, unstoppable. The most powerful person in the room is never the loudest. It's the one who controls their emotions while others lose theirs. And that power, it's not born, it's built with timeless strategies, Stoic strategies. Today you'll discover 6 Stoic techniques that will teach you how to stay composed under pressure, in conflict, and life. Let's dive in. Number 1, pause. Like Marcus Aurelius, respond, don't react. There is a moment, so small, it almost slips away unnoticed, between what happens to you and how you respond. That moment is your power. And it's the difference between a reaction you'll regret and a response you'll respect. The Stoics mastered this space. They called it prohairesis, the capacity to choose your response with reason rather than impulse. And no Stoic practiced this more than Marcus Aurelius, Emperor of Rome. He ruled the most powerful empire in history, but he faced betrayal, plague, war, and personal grief. People lied to him. Plots swirled behind his back. And still, he remained calm, deliberate, and just. Why? Because Marcus didn't let the outside world control his inner world. When an advisor disrespected him, when soldiers disappointed him, when sickness spread through the empire, he didn't explode, he didn't panic, he paused. In his meditations, he reminded himself daily, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength. That's the key. Strength isn't in the shout, it's in the silence. It's a choice to breathe instead of lash out, to reflect instead of retaliate, to own your energy instead of being owned by emotion. We live in a world that's reactive by default. One tweet ruins someone's day. One insult breaks a friendship. One moment of anger can destroy a career. But when you choose to pause, you become dangerous in the best way, because you cannot be provoked, manipulated, or thrown off course. Here's your practice. The next time someone tries to trigger you, stop. Count to 5. Ask yourself, is this within my control? Is this worth my peace? Then decide, not out of rage, but out of reason. That pause may feel like weakness at first, but it's not. It's power, it's discipline. It's the mark of someone who leads themselves before trying to lead others. And the longer you master that pause, the shorter your suffering becomes. You move from chaos to calm, from reaction to resilience. The Stoics weren't emotionless. They were emotionally disciplined. And that's what you're building every time you choose to pause like a Stoic king.
Number 2, control the inner dialogue. Your mind is the battlefield. Your greatest battle is not out there, it's in here. It's not your boss, your partner, or your critics. It's your voice. That voice, narrating your every moment, that voice either builds you into an unshakable force or breaks you before the world even gets the chance. The Stoics were aware of this truth long before modern psychology caught up with it. Epictetus, born into slavery, became one of the most influential philosophers of all time. He taught that it's not events themselves that disturb us, but our judgments about them. What happens to you is never as powerful as what you tell yourself about what happens. Here's the truth. You don't break from pressure, you break from perception. A single thought like, I can't do this, can collapse your entire posture, kill your momentum, and sabotage your future. But here's the good news. You are not your thoughts. You are the observer of them, the commander of them. When someone rejects you, when you fail, when plans fall apart, your mind races, I'm not good enough. This always happens to me. I'll never make it. But that's not the truth. That's just the first story. And the Stoics teach you to challenge that story with reason, not emotion. Imagine this. You wake up late. Your day starts rough. Instead of spiraling into today is ruined, you stop. You breathe. You say, this is a test. I can still own this day. That's the Stoic move. You're not ignoring reality. You're reframing it with strength. Here's your practice. Every time a negative thought shows up, respond like a Stoic. This isn't happening to me. It's happening for me. This isn't a failure. It's feedback. This doesn't define me. It refines me. You're not lying to yourself. You're leading yourself. Because of the voice in your head, that's your most loyal soldier or your most dangerous enemy. When you master your inner dialogue, you become your weapon of resilience. You'll walk into stress, chaos, even heartbreak, composed, because your thoughts won't own you. You'll own them. The Stoics didn't aim to be emotionless. They aimed to be emotionally sovereign. And that sovereignty begins with the stories you choose to believe. Control your mind, and you control the moment. Control the moment, and you control your life. Number 3, practice voluntary discomfort. Train before the storm. Most people break when life gets hard. Why? Because they only train in comfort, and comfort is a liar. It promises peace, but leaves you unprepared. The Stoics were different. They believed the path to calm wasn't paved in luxury. It was forged in resistance. Seneca, a wealthy Roman philosopher, lived in palaces, wore fine clothes, and had access to every pleasure. But still, he would sleep on the floor, eat coarse bread, and wear ragged clothes. Why? Because he knew real composure comes from training the mind before the crisis arrives. He once wrote, "Set aside a certain number of days during which you shall be content with the scantiest and cheapest fare, with coarse and rough dress, saying to yourself all the while, 'Is this the condition I feared?'" He practiced poverty, not because he lacked wealth, but because he wanted to own it, not be owned by it. Here's the truth. When you expose yourself to controlled discomfort, you build an unbreakable identity. You realize that fear is often an illusion, and your strength runs deeper than you thought. The cold shower, the early morning alarm, the skipped meal, they're not punishments, they're preparation. They whisper to your brain, "I've been here before. I don't panic. I rise." Real composure isn't built in calm waters. It's forged in the storm before the storm. You don't become resilient in the moment of crisis. You bring the resilience you've built into that moment. Your practice: pick one thing every day that makes you uncomfortable, and do it deliberately. Walk in the rain. Say no to a craving. Take the stairs instead of the elevator. Wake up when your body begs you to hit snooze. Every time you choose discomfort on purpose, you grow your tolerance to adversity. You expand your limits. You become calm, not just because life is easy, but because you're strong enough for when it's not. The Stoic doesn't wait to be tested by life. He trains quietly, daily, so when the world throws its worst, he doesn't collapse. He smiles. Because while others seek comfort, he seeks growth. And growth lives just beyond the edge of discomfort. Number 4, remember the view from above. Rise above the storm. When life hits hard, when someone betrays you, when your plans fall apart, when the world feels small and suffocating, what do? You rise, not by ignoring the chaos, but by changing your perspective. The Stoics had a powerful mental exercise called the view from above. They imagined rising above their home, their city, their country, until they could see the world as a whole. From that height, their problems seemed to shrink, their pride faded, their anger softened, because from up there, you remember what truly matters. Here's the truth. Most of our suffering comes from zooming in too close. We obsess over the email that offended us, the look someone gave us, the plan that didn't go our way. But the Stoic zooms out. He remembers that he is a dot on a spinning rock, floating in a vast cosmos, surrounded by people with battles we can't see. He doesn't diminish life. He elevates his awareness. When Marcus Aurelius faced endless stress, plague, betrayal, war, he didn't collapse under pressure. He reminded himself, "You can rid yourself of many useless things among those that disturb you, for they lie entirely in your opinion." In other words, change your lens and you change your life. Here's how to practice the view from above. When you're overwhelmed, pause and ask, will this still matter in a week? In a year? On my deathbed? Most of the time, the answer is no. What feels like a mountain now is just a pebble from a higher view. You are not just your feelings. You are not just your current situation. You are a being with the ability to step back, rise, and see clearly. Think like this. The warrior doesn't get lost in the mud of every fight. He climbs the hill, surveys the battlefield, and chooses his next move with clarity. That's what composure is, not the absence of pain, but the presence of perspective. So when the world tries to drown you in details, when your ego screams for revenge, when your stress clouds your thoughts, rise, zoom out, reclaim your view from above. Because when you see the big picture, you stop getting controlled by the minor problems, and the man who can rise above cannot be brought down. Number 5, amor fati, turn pain into power. Most people fight their fate. They curse their problems. They resist every hardship as if it's some mistake, as if life should be easy, fair, and smooth. But the Stoics saw things differently. They didn't just accept reality, they embraced it. They didn't just endure pain, they loved what life gave them. They practiced amor fati, Latin for love of fate. Let that sink in. Love your fate. Not just when it's kind, not just when it's working in your favor, but when it tests you, when it hurts, when it strips you of comfort, pride, or control. This isn't weakness, it's the most radical strength. Marcus Aurelius, in the face of disease, betrayal, and war, didn't ask, "Why me?" He asked, "How can I use this?" He wrote, "A blazing fire makes flame and brightness out of everything that is thrown into it." That is amor fati in action. Life throws tragedy, delay, loss, humiliation, and instead of letting it bury you, you turn it into fuel. You don't burn out, you burn brighter. Here's how you begin. When you're rejected, don't say, "This wasn't supposed to happen." Say, "This is shaping me." When you lose something or someone, don't ask, "Why did this happen to me?" Ask, "What wisdom is buried in this pain?" When a plan fails, don't crumble, pivot. Say, "This is part of the path. I will make this serve me." Composure isn't pretending you're okay. It's saying, even if I'm not okay, I trust that this pain has a purpose. This mindset changes everything, because once you stop fighting life, you start mastering it. You stop fearing loss because even loss strengthens you. You stop resenting delays because they teach you patience. You stop avoiding pain because you understand. Pain is the forge of greatness. Look at any powerful, grounded soul you admire. They didn't get there easily. They got there through fire, and they walked through it with their head held high, because they understood life isn't happening to you. It's happening for you, not always to please you, but always to shape you. So stop resisting, stop complaining, stop wishing it were easier. Say it out loud. Amor fati. I don't just accept what is, I own it. I rise with it, I grow through it. Because everything that happens to build the person I'm destined to become. Number 6, the obstacle is the path. Turn resistance into fuel. Most people see obstacles as stop signs. They hit a wall and quit. They hear no and retreat. They fail once and fold like paper in the rain. But the Stoic sees the obstacle not as a barrier, but as the very path forward. Marcus Aurelius wrote something so bold that it became the cornerstone of modern resilience. The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way. Read that again. What stands in the way becomes the way. Let that truth settle in your bones. That rejection, that's not the end. That delay, that's not the block. That heartbreak, that's not the ruin. It's all part of your transformation. The Stoic doesn't wait for a smooth road. He becomes strong enough to walk with the broken one, because real composure is not built in peace. It's tested in pressure. When your plans collapse, your schedule fails. Your effort is met with silence. That's not proof you're doing it wrong. That's proof you're on the path. Resistance is not a punishment. It's a signal. It tells you, here's where strength is built. Here's where others turn back. And you keep going. Let's be honest. You're not going to have a clear path. Life will interrupt you. People will doubt you. You will fall short. But here's what separates the Stoic. He doesn't just endure the obstacle, he uses it. When others break, he builds. When others complain, he adapts. When others stop, he starts again, stronger, brighter, and sharper. Here's your mindset shift. Whenever you hit a wall, say this: good. This is the next lesson. This is the next level. This is where I get sharper. Like a sculptor chipping away at marble, every hit shapes you. Every failure cuts away weakness. Every challenge reveals your true character. You become anti-fragile, someone who doesn't just survive pressure, but grows stronger because of it. And when people ask, how did you stay calm through all that? You'll say, because the obstacle didn't break me, it built me. That is Stoic composure, not standing still in the face of adversity, but marching through it with quiet, unstoppable strength. Because what blocks the ordinary man builds the extraordinary one. You're now fully equipped with 6 ironclad Stoic strategies. Conclusion: become the calm in the storm. Let's step back and look at what you've just learned. You now hold in your hands the ancient weapons of warriors who mastered life, not by chance, but by choice. 6 Stoic strategies that aren't just philosophies. They are disciplines forged in hardship, sharpened in silence, and proven through centuries. You've learned to pause before you react, to own your response, and never hand your power to chaos. You've discovered how to command your inner voice and reframe every thought into strength. You've trained to embrace discomfort because growth never visits the comfortable. You've risen with the view from above, zooming out to see clarity where others see only confusion. You've awakened to amor fati, the fearless love of everything that happens, even the pain. And you've committed to a mindset where the obstacle is not the enemy. It is the opportunity. Now, here's the truth. Most people won't apply this. They'll watch, nod, maybe even take notes, and go right back to being reactive, emotional, and easily rattled. But not you. You're not here to feel suitable for 30 minutes. You're here to transform. from someone who gets shaken by life to someone who shapes life. Because in a world that overreacts, breaks down, and falls apart at the first sign of stress, you'll be the stillness. You'll be the rock, the anchor, the one who doesn't just talk about strength, but embodies it. And when chaos rises, and it will, you won't run. You'll breathe. You'll center. You'll walk through the fire, calm and unshaken. Not because life got easier, but because you got stronger. This is your calling, not just to watch Stoicism from a distance, but to live it, to become the rare, unbreakable force that commands respect without saying a word. If this message resonates with your soul, if you felt the fire light up inside you, if you're ready to walk the Stoic path, not just in theory, but in action, subscribe now, not just to this channel, but to your higher self, to a life of composure, clarity, and control. Because the journey doesn't end here. This is the beginning. Welcome to your Stoic and mindset.